famously, because there's so much more to cover today. So who in the room has taken vitamins? By a show of hands, taken vitamins. Vitamin industry is a big industry. I'm taking magnesium, you're taking vitamins. Who in the room has taken vitamins through an IV? Oh, yeah, ladies in the back. Well, we're going to hear more all about it. It's vitamin IV therapy, and it's making headlines around the world in the health industry, and the form of Medicare that helps increase patient vitality, which is what we're talking about. Health is all about that vitality and expanding it. We're boosting the immune system, supporting mental clarity, and the growing trend in this area has created millions of exciting opportunities for businesses and practitioners. So with the popularity of these IV trends, it's soaring, and our upcoming speakers, Amal, we got a whole bunch, let's see, that we are tapping into the IV vitamin therapy market. So Dr. Maryam Tubeileh, founder and CEO of MT Consulting. We're bringing her back up here. She's the innovation section head. Come on up, Ministry of Health, Oman. And Alisha Damani is a medical doctor of the high performance coach. She is a TEDx and international speaker and the wellness entrepreneur at the Drip Stop. So these ladies are going to tell you a lot more all about this IV therapy. Come on up to the stage, ladies. Looking forward to this conversation. Different and new information today, right? Part of innovation as well. Fantastic. Innovation. I'm sure there's some digitalization in there. Maybe there's an app connected to it. Make yourself comfortable. I know we have a lot of chairs here. And then let's grab a mic so you guys can make sure that you can address the audience. I put the time on the clock. I think hashtag IV therapy, is that the hashtag you're using? You know, that people are finding this topic around, right? Why not? You need that hashtag so people talking about this topic can find you. And we put the time on the clock. If you want questions, just finish a few minutes early, okay? And we'll be sure to keep you going. Hashtag Health2Conf it is. Make sure you're posting and connecting. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Your mic's working?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
I think we need to wake up in here, don't we? Good afternoon, everybody.
We need some energy.
Hello. Thank you. It's the post-lunch slump, isn't it?
Yeah. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and I think it's going to boost a bit of your energy because that's what IV vitamins does.
Absolutely. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm actually dentist my background is dentistry, and I did a master's in quality management and service development, which led for me to become a performance improvement consultant. And the fact that I'm interested in IV vitamins is because personally I use it, and I saw the effect on people's performance. And I'm so delighted to get introduced to Alisha, who's actually having a business in that, and she could tell you more about the history of the IV and the impact it has on her people. But your body is the only place you live in, so you need to take care of it, and you need to be very cautious on what you use for it. And this, inshallah, is going to be a topic that is going to heighten the importance of vitamins in your body versus the conventional medicine, which is talking about treatment. Here we're talking about wellness and prevention. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Alisha. I am a medical doctor practicing in the National Health Service in the UK. I'm a certified high-performance coach, TEDx international speaker. I am a wellness entrepreneur, specifically in IV drips. That's my area of specialty. And I have recently founded, which I spoke about briefly earlier today, the High Efficiency Club, where I combine the expertise of medicine and health and the science of high performance to really elevate corporates, leaders, founders, businesses to an efficiency level that goes beyond your current level of performance. And IV drips comes really nicely into it, actually. So
True. Let me fix this because
we'll talk with each other. Yeah.
So we're here to enjoy our time. I hope you enjoy it with us. So how would you like to introduce IV in terms of definition and the benefits of it for the population?
Sure. So IV drips, in its simplest form, is a drip going straight into your circulation And you can throw anything you want into it, provided it's safe for you and your body. And so under medical guidance, please. And IV vitamin therapy is something that is much more modern. IV drips has been around for a very, very long time. And in fact, I'll go into a little bit of history here. It was in the 16 and 1700s that the first idea of a drip came about when they were doing blood transfusions, and they used a quill and a pig's bladder to infuse blood into another human being, but that didn't last very long. And then fast forward to the 1830s, at the time of the cholera breakout, salty water was infused, and they saw good outcomes, that people were healing a lot better. And fast forward to today, from the mid-90s onwards, now we have a much wider, a much broader concept of IV drips, but typically we see it in the context of sick people. We use IV drips in the context of you only need it if you're not well, if you can't consume, if you can't hydrate yourselves. And what we're seeing today actually is we have made so much advance in medicine and health, in the science of vitamins, micronutrients, minerals, antioxidants, that IV vitamin therapy or IV micronutritional therapy is now beginning to really, really boom around the world. Again, I want to draw on the safety of having it from somebody who is accredited in practicing that, because you don't want anything to be injected into yourself. But it's really interesting, actually, to see how far IV drips have come. And even I speak to my own medical colleagues in the hospital who say, "What do you mean vitamin drips? We give drips to sick people in hospital." Yes, but did you know that you can function a whole lot better by giving them vitamins, by giving them other things? But the problem is, you know, there is a lack of science around it. It does feel unsubstantiated.
Actually, adding to that, with the growth of the market, of the wellness market globally, and the interest in prevention and preventive medicine, and the booming use of wellness retreats, you'd be very surprised, why isn't there enough science to support it? Why isn't it being incorporated as part of the conventional treatments, just for an additional boost for your immunity? Because the strength of your healing is by the strength of your immunity.
Absolutely.
And medications don't give you immunity, medications treat your problems. Sometimes it actually treats your symptoms, not really the disease. So if I could support my body with elements that could boost its immunity so that it becomes the healer of itself, because we are naturally capable beings of healing our own problems and diseases.
Absolutely.
Why isn't it? I mean, I always wonder, why aren't they putting enough attention onto it so that the people who have doubts would feel they're safe enough to take it? Because if it doesn't harm you, I mean, if it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't harm you. After all, it's just vitamins. And touching also on the idea that it's globally growing, no regulations to support it, and a lot of times it's being shipped from one country to another with no regulations of its storage. And that is another problem that you would need to worry about. And I think it's what we're doing here in this setting is that we're calling out for an action towards vitamin, because whether we like it or not, it's an innovative approach to healthy lifestyle. And it's booming and the demand on it is increasing. So I hope that some regulatory bodies are listening to us right now to actually put in attention on raising the guidelines in terms of using it and helping people take it feeling safe and under proper control. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think one thing that you drew on, which I want to go back to, is preventative medicine. And I think it was discussed in an earlier panel discussion. We don't live in healthcare, we live in sick care. I'm not sure who made that statement, but I remember that. And I agree. I absolutely agree that we're waiting for people to get sick before we actually treat them, whereas IV micronutrient therapy, vitamin therapy, can be a preventative form of healthcare. So I think that's a really, really key point. Now, going on to what you mentioned around regulation and the safety of these products, it's really hard because you can't patent vitamin C. You can't patent vitamin B, so what pharmaceutical company is going to fund a massive trial to create the data and the science that we need for IV vitamin therapy? It's just not going to happen. It's going to rely on services and companies who are delivering IV drips to actually collect their own data to see, are their benefits being achieved or not? And I think this is one of my pain points. I think as somebody who delivers a service like this, I collect my own qualitative and quantitative data from my clients, and over 80% of my clients are returner clients. They're returner clients, and they come back saying, I noticed a benefit, this is how long it lasted, I feel it wearing off now. Whether it's placebo, whether it's true impact, do they feel better? Yes. Do they feel more energized? Yes. Are they more productive in their life? Yes. Are they sleeping better? Yes. So actually, are we improving their well-being? We are. And as
from a person who's using them,
yeah.
I confirm.
Yeah.
It really shifts your energy level, your mood swings, it helps you with your brain fog. The only thing that I wish that gets addressed, and I think many of us who are using vitamins, and I'd like for you to touch base on that, is that it's a bit costly at this time.
Yeah.
And I find it targeting certain people with certain income.
Yeah.
That it cannot be maintained by the majority. And I think with the benefits that I've seen on myself, I feel like it's very disheartening that only certain people can buy it and purchase it and use it and see the benefits of it. And as you, as a business owner, providing the service, what do you think could be a way to make it more available for more public so that they could live the youth they want to live, pain-free, very focused, sleep better on the benefits you mentioned?
Of course. So I think one of the barriers to this is actually physicians and medical doctors who hold relatively archaic views, are not open to the idea of IV vitamin therapy because it's unsubstantiated with enough science. Now, if I'm going to say, well, we're not really going to get the science because it's not going to have the funding to have all these trials, are we going to withhold a treatment that has shown some positive data from people who want it if it's not going to do them any harm? I mean, some of the studies that are out there, and these are small-scale studies, are on high-dose vitamin C in the context of cancer treatments. Not that it cures cancer, but does it reduce the side effect profile of people taking particular immunotherapies or chemotherapies? And the results are promising. Yeah. And if it's not going to do any harm, if it's not going to be detrimental to their primary cancer treatment, or the effect of the chemotherapy, and there's no harm, then why doesn't it become an adjuvant treatment that you can offer, and we start collecting data that way? So I think there is a resistance from physicians because of a lack of data, and for that reason, it doesn't come into regulation, it doesn't come into the medical industry, and it's reserved for the wellness industry, which is booming. Like the one thing we spoke about earlier, the wellness industry was valued globally, economically, at just over $4 trillion in 2020, and it's predicted to hit $7 trillion by 2025. We're talking just a few years later. There was a talk about personalized wellness earlier in the day. People are looking for ways to feel better, to be more energized, and this is just an option. This isn't a replacement for healthy habits, good lifestyle, healthy diet. This is just another option, and it's going to end up booming. So if we are able to really harness and grasp while the industry in the IV drips is beginning to boom, we have the opportunity to actually tailor what that looks like in the future.
Yeah, and just to touch upon the idea that it's coming, and it's being used by oncology treatments, because I've been introduced to integrative medicine in Switzerland. They call it biological medicine, biological oncology medicine, and Germany and Thailand, where it's part of the therapy. They're not claiming that it's going to treat their cancer, but actually the studies have found that certain vitamins, and I can't recall all of them, but I've done my research and read a few some time back, where it interferes with the growth of the cancer cells at one point. So it's cytotoxic in the cancer journey of growth. And second of all, it, of course, like I said, it boosts the immunity. So they were like, okay, since we cannot claim that it's a treatment because it's not supported by science, why not incorporate it into the treatment plan of the patient? So there are some hospitals in Thailand which have already incorporated vitamins as a treatment, and in Switzerland and Germany, like I said, and they found that the patient's side effects to the chemotherapy and radiation is much less when they use these vitamins. And
Absolutely.
that's why I'm so advocating for this and I'm calling for it. And it's just a matter of time before it becomes part of the healthcare system. The one thing that surprises me is that when COVID came, like we discussed it earlier, it didn't need years and years and years of trial. When they wanted to make it happen in terms of the vaccination, it happened in less than 6 months. They found the vaccination, they said this is the one for you, take it, you don't have a choice. And if you read through the policies of and the guidelines of medicine, the patient has the right to choose. With COVID, they didn't really give you the choice. You either take the vaccination or you can't travel, you can't go to the gym, you can't. Meanwhile, you are a human being with freedom of choice, and I think you need to know that you have different choices for keeping your body healthy, and vitamins are one of the choices. So I do agree with you when you said, since it doesn't have a trial or it's not proven by science, enough articles and journals doesn't mean that it's not beneficial. I'm agreeing with you, and I say it's just about time before they start talking about it in every article.
Yeah, and you also mentioned, which I didn't quite answer earlier, was why is it so expensive? Well, there aren't very many companies doing it at the moment. If you go to countries that do provide a lot of this service, particularly in the States, it is found to be cheaper. So it is a simple, straightforward business model of the more supply there is, the cheaper it will get. It literally is as simple as that. So right now, it's not widely available, but the moment it does become widely available, it will get cheaper. So, we want people to deliver these services. You want to give not just patients an opportunity to feel more energized, to sleep better, to get rid of that brain fog. It's leaders, CEOs, people who are stressed out all the time doing their jobs.
Doctors.
Nurses. Business owners. Everybody in this room. You don't have to have an IV vitamin drip because you're not feeling well. Just imagine a version of you that is performing, that your productivity is doubled just because you're fueled well, just because you're hydrated better. Like, we have access to this level of science and medicine that we ourselves aren't using, And I'm not here to say, everybody go and get yourself a vitamin drip. No. Healthy lifestyle is always the way to go. But we have options now, like you said. Yeah. And I think being educated about what these options are, everything new and unfamiliar will come with a degree of skepticism. There's going to be controversy. There is going to be challenge around that conversation, around, is this really something we should be offering or not? Well, hey, it's already being offered. If not by you, it'll be by somebody else. And if it's not going to do you any harm, for me, when I first was introduced to IV vitamin drips, I was like, yeah, but I'm not sick.
Yeah.
And when I was training in it, we had to give it to each other so they could sign us off on particular elements. And so I had a drip, and the next thing I know, I'm like, I usually get tired by now, but I feel absolutely fine. I feel clear. I feel more productive. And an example that I use quite a lot is if you have a car, or if you've used a vehicle of some kind, public transport, a plane, if it's not had its service, if it's not been fueled well, would you get into that vehicle to get you from A to B with your loved ones? You probably wouldn't, because it might break down, you don't know how safe it is. And then here's us as human vehicles. Are we fueling ourselves right? How many of us can actually put our hands up and say, I am intentional about my nutritional choices and how much I'm hydrating? And I ask me how I know. I'm a medic, I'm a doctor, I'm not the greatest role model, right? we're walking around waiting for our own breakdowns to happen because of our health. And we're all here making a difference in the world, right? You're all here because of that reason. You want to connect, you want to network. We're all here with products and services and ideas that are going to transform the world. But if we're not functioning at 100%, like, what are we going to output? How are we going to serve and deliver?
Yeah, and we're all here to make an impact.
Exactly.
How can we create an impact when your best asset is being compromised? Health is
100%.
wealth. And just to give a chance for questions, I would like to wrap up my point with the thing you said. The nutrition is number one. We're not here promoting for IV infusions. We're promoting for your well-being and your lifestyle. If you manage to take the good nutrition from your food, enough key ingredients to keep you functioning in the performance that you would like, you feel that your body is vital, it's not inflamed, you don't have joint pain, you don't have migraines, you don't have, because you're taking the right food. Because I promise you, if you take the right diet, you don't need anything of what we're saying. But as medics, as people that are healthcare workers, that our schedule and our shifts are so compromising our health, sometimes you need a booster. And this is there and it's available for you. Take it because you deserve it. And do remember that this is just an option of all options, but if you could manage to do it through your food, then do it through your food. It's your best investment. It's your only way to success, and it's your only way to impact. Because if you're living with pain, trust me, it's gonna compromise your activity in so many ways. Do you agree?
Absolutely agree. And what I wanted to finish off with as well is, if you don't make time for wellness, one day you're going to have to make time for illness. And that's what we're trying to avoid here. You know, we all stand for preventative medicine. We all stand for lifestyle, healthy well-being. And that starts from within, that starts with us. So always remember, we don't want to wait till things go wrong. Yeah. And there are many options and many ways that we can enhance and elevate our own well-being and then have the ripple effect of that happen.
And you own that to yourself, so take care of yourself. And the door is open for questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy to have questions. Unless it was really
I know there's questions around here. There has to be some questions. Oh, you left good time for questions. Come on. I know majority of the crowd has not tried it yet. You got a question? Come on up to the mic. Oh, there's a line. All right, great.
Oh, gosh.
Take it away. Look at that.
So, Ritesh Patel at Finn, great presentation. We've seen things like oxygen and IV, etc., take off in the US, as you said. But you had a great example of chemo and the addition of that. Could you not do something with an academic medical center where you could do this and have some peer-reviewed papers published as opposed to doing a clinical trial around it to show that it can work? Is that something worth doing?
Shall I take that? Really great question, very powerful question, and I'm glad it's been asked.
Yeah. We were just discussing it before
we were talking about it earlier, and I absolutely agree. I think it's going to have to start off with academic centres, with research centres. And the papers that are available at the moment have somewhat been in these settings. But they've always been in the context of medical conditions. What I would really love to see is some research on actually the link between well-being and performance and productivity with IV vitamin drips. And usually a lot of research and academic studies that are done in the context of improving health in a sick person. But there is less so out there on people who just want to enhance well-being. So I think it's a great question. I think this is the way it's going to go and how it's going to start. And I encourage academic centers, research centers, even pharmaceutical companies to really back this model, because it is a booming industry. It is going to get much, much more popular. And so if you get in early enough, you're going to reap the benefits of it.
And for ladies, just a side note, if you do take vitamin C infusions, you're going to find a different vitality to your skin, and you're going to glow. So I encourage you to take it for that, at least, if you want to look beautiful, instead of all the injections and the what do they call it? The silicone
Plastic
and
surgery,
the plastic
it's an
surgery
alternative.
and all that. Vitamin C is the way to go.
Okay, hello. I'm actually a surgical oncology, and I feel that there are a lot of pressure on doctors. While I'm really interested in treatment, also in a wellness part, but as a doctor, it's not an easy for me to just describe vitamins. You know that there are no strong evidence to support it. This is first, although we have a lot of studies, for example, shows there is an association between the cancer and vitamin D, for example, but it wasn't proven. What we are afraid from it as a physician is the interaction between the vitamin and other drugs, because it's a major issue and we don't have any evidence based to treat the patient based on it. I believe vitamins have a role. We use the VIP vitamins for our patients who have malabsorption, for example, those who have bariatric surgery. So we know the benefit of it for sure, but the other aspect still is missing. In the same time, I would like, for example, to order the vitamins level for my patient. It's not a problem. The insurance will not cover it. Even the government, sometimes they will not cover it. It will be very helpful if we can prove that those patients have some kind of deficiency, and the reality they are. My patient, I think more than 60% of them, they have vitamin D deficiency, for example. I'm doing it part from my endocrine workup, but to ask about vitamin B and vitamin C and vitamin A and vitamin E, it's not an easy, it's not an available. So, and if you ask the patient to do it, it's also costly. So it's not only the vitamin itself, even the labs. And to monitor the response or to avoid toxicity, I need it. So how can I solve it?
Great question. Again, in the context of cancer, there is a lack of science, as you've already shared. The data that is there at the moment does demonstrate its safety. It does demonstrate that cancer outcomes are as they would expect in people who, in a control group versus a group that are receiving high-dose vitamin C, and we're talking up to 60 grams of vitamin C IV. I think the challenge, so you mentioned one about sort of insurance, getting access to these things, and I think we only just touched on the surface. What I wanted to actually share, one of the points I wanted to make was, in the UK, we have the MHRA, the Medicines Health Regulatory Agency. In the States, you have the FDA. We'll have these regulatory agencies around the world for the respective countries. And the products that I get, for example, are all regulated through the MHRA in the UK. So I know that the product is clean, it's been cleared by them, it's got all the backing that they need. The trouble is, insurance will only cover you if it's part of a treatment protocol.
Yes,
And
exactly.
right now, it's not part of treatment protocol. So it's something additional, something private that people have to get. And because it is not very accessible, it is very expensive. So we need to, we're on this journey of beginning to grow. And, you know, I'm hopeful that there will come a day relatively soon where it does become cheaper, because it will become more accessible. Again, with the information that I know and I have, when I look at the States where this is booming a lot more, it is a lot cheaper compared to the numbers that I see in the UK. So I think the cost will go down, just as any medicine would over time, and as it becomes more available. As it comes into protocols in cancer, as it becomes adjuvant, additional treatment, supportive medications, part of the holistic care, insurance will then begin to cover it. But again, the problem is the lack of science. What we need is at least sufficient science. We're not going to get 20 years worth of trial data. And I wouldn't want somebody to experience side effects that maybe they wouldn't have experienced, for 20 years. So as long as we have enough to say it's not going to do you harm, it's not going to progress your cancer, and it's not going to interact with the primary treatment that you're receiving, here you go. We can't promise because we're still collecting data, but this is an option. And for those who are willing to take it on, and I think it's a lot of the advanced cancers as well. Go on.
Did you finish your point?
So a lot of the advanced cancers, they are trying to clutching at straws. Whatever is out there, give it to me. Let's try everything that we have. But it would be great to see it being used earlier on in a patient's cancer pathway.
I'm assuming you're from the Middle East.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, so I come from Oman, and I think we have similar regulations in terms of the vitamins, the insurance, and we're going through the same journey. So, although it's not my scope to talk about this, but from what I'm seeing in terms of the vision and the let's say the dramatic changes that are happening in terms of our regulations and the enforcing of innovation and all this. Yes, the guidelines are not supporting, and we are facing this. A lot of the patients back home, in Oman, مثلا, we do not have any place that has vitamin infusions. I have to order it from Dubai.
No, we have it, but we have a regulation just to protect the physician. For me, I have a special interest in that. To tell you the truth, I'm working in just only a medical center. I'm working
Yes.
on a wellness center. I believe in it, but I need the knowledge.
Yeah, what I'm promoting right now, like you, me, and more doctors that we're going to be probably bumping into in the conference from this region, the only way forward to advocate for this is our voices.
Yes.
Because few years back in 2014, when I was talking about epigenetics back home, all the doctors, my teammates, were like, Maryam, this is hocus pocus. There's not such a thing. I was like, no, there is. I've learned about it. I'm reading about it. This is the effect. Right now, I'm part of a task force in creating something for innovation in healthcare. And one of the projects that were raised is analyzing the genome and the epigenetics to prevent diseases. And I was like, now, so we are moving towards these changes, and your voice, just don't give up on it.
My voice is good for innovation, for technology, but I cannot use my voice to apply it in patients. This is a difference.
No, I'm not saying, right now we cannot use it on patients in terms of
so
regulation.
we need the academic background. So I agree totally that we need to do some studies, some research, and I'm willing to help, and I'm willing to involve. I'm looking for the better results, yes, but based evidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your voice doesn't mean talk about it. Your voice means your efforts. Believe in what you're saying, because it's gonna prove it's true, because there is science already. If you go to Germany, there's enough science and they believe in it.
No. Until now, there is no evidence base, believe me.
I've sat with a professor that's treating patients with IV infusion.
Yeah, this is for special case. As I said, I have my patient, I treat them. We have IV and we have Saudi regulation and we have the guidelines. But I want to use the wellness side, which I really interested in it and I believe in it too. Until now, we don't have an evidence base for that, but I can see that the future is for it.
Yes.
And I'm willing to involve. If you have any academic research, I'm willing to involve. I think there will be a route, but with special guidance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I love? I love your passion. I love your dedication around this. So we definitely have to talk.
Hi, myself, Dr. Lipi, a biomedical scientist. I just need to know, because we know that human organism is an organism, we made complex organisms. So anything going into your body, that means changing your physiology. So will this be very precise as a precision medicine, or how you decide for a particular person or patient or anyone to go for this therapy? What are the limitations of this therapy? Just need to know.
Sure. So the considerations I make whenever I get a client or a patient is, they have to go through a thorough health consultation. What are their background medical conditions? How well are their organs working, particularly their liver and their kidneys, because that needs to clear everything that we're plugging into them, right? And what you don't measure doesn't get managed. So baseline blood tests, you can have comprehensive blood tests and you can look at all of that. Now, a lot of vitamins that are delivered, a lot of them and minerals are water soluble. So provided you're generally in good health, your kidneys and your liver are working fine, you've had your baseline blood test, anything in excess will naturally get cleared. However, there are some vitamins that are fat soluble that you wouldn't want to give IV without very, very close monitoring, because you could get toxic levels very, very easily. And one of the difference between oral supplementation versus IV supplementation is, you're bypassing the gut. The gut can only absorb so much, be it 30, 40, 50%, whatever the science shows. when you're injecting it directly into your circulation, you're getting 100% of those vitamins, those minerals, those amino acids ready for your cells, your organs to use. So you're getting all of that. The risk of toxicity is always there, so regular monitoring, making sure you're following clients and patients up, getting those blood tests done if that is something you're monitoring. Even a lot of my clients, they've got their regime sorted, they know how long, we did a few blood tests when they first started, and now we know what their rhythm is. So provided their health and well-being in terms of their medical background has remained unchanged, we carry on with that routine. And this sort of personalized wellness that was spoken about earlier, this is where we have to really individualize it, because again, there are risks to IV treatment. Right? There are risks to it, and so having the right SOPs, right, having the right protocols and the right products, the right quantities and concentrations of everything, different combinations of vitamins and minerals and amino acids will provide different benefits. And so if you're looking for an immune boost, for example, or you're looking for more energy, you're looking to sleep better, whatever it is that you're looking for, there are various combinations that you can use. I create packages, and so, I'm not picking sort of each and every mineral or amino acid out. It's like, if you want energy, this is the one you're going for. And there are various pharmaceutical companies that do provide IV multivitamin drips, who create those packages that are cleared through the MHRA in the UK. So, my job is relatively easy because I know it's all been regulated and checked. But I would definitely say, what you don't measure doesn't get managed. So you really want to have that initial consultation, very thorough. Every time you're checking in, has anything changed? Are their organs working okay? Are they going to be able to clear all of this stuff? Are they in a state where actually they're not quite so well and we need to tweak things around or change things up for them? To keep it individualized, to keep it personalized in every moment, because particularly for clients who are doing this to boost their wellness, they don't necessarily need it. Right? If there are other ways to supplement, IV drips, I wouldn't say it should be the first point of call for anyone. What you were saying, you live in your body. Your body is your temple. An IV drip isn't going to suddenly fix all your problems. You have to have those lifestyle habits to really embed good well-being from its foundations.
Fantastic. You're right, 100%. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Great
you.
panel. I know there's one more question. I'm going to hear it while they take a picture so they can talk about it outside the room after their opportunity. Got to be a stickler in time. We are running low, but I do thank for a great conversation. You see, the ladies are interested in this.
Thank you.
Really. I'm wondering, where's the drip? We need it for the audience. Oh, somebody's awake. Fantastic. Give them a round of applause, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They'll grab a picture, a hug, all that good stuff. And I'd love to hear your question, because we are going to keep on engaging, connecting, and maybe there's other people that want to jump into the conversation. So please do share.
So first of all, I would like to applaud Health 2.0 conference and to you for actually calling this panel as a fireside chat. Because like this physician in the room, sorry, I don't see where you are with academic background. I'm also in academic medicine. And the intravenous multivitamins we've been using for a long period of time. How many people in the room familiar with banana bag? Okay, banana bag we've been giving for decades. And it's a combination of multivitamins. I want you all go right now on your phones and look banana bag.
Banana bear.
Banana bag. It's a folic acid, thiamine. You're familiar. We've been doing this for people who drink alcohol all the time. So the question actually where arises, we need evidence-based medicine. Right now, there is no randomized clinical evidence-based medicine. It is all, like you said, woo-woo medicine used to be. So the urge of this fireside chat, all of us being in the room, so then we bring new clinical trials, so we unite together. So thank you very much for great discussion.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you, ladies. Again, great to have this engaging. I like these engaging conversations. I just miss, we want to do some free trials on this IV stuff, see what we can, the magnitude it could get us awake, alive, and feel better and help our health longevity, right?